So remember, percent is a ratio whose denominator is 100. When you're writing percents as fractions in simplest form, just put them over 100 and reduce. Write the fraction as a percent. Is 16 over 25, is that easy to make out of 100? What are we multiplying by to get it out of 100? Maria?
4.
So just take 16 times 4. So what is 16 times 4? Brady?
64.
And then don't forget the...
Percent.
Yep. If you got a 6 out of 7 on a homework paper, you either have to divide, right, and move the decimal, or make it out of 100. Is 7 easy to make out of 100? No. So if I set it equal to P over 100, how do I solve that? 2 words. Cross multiply. So here you get 7p equals 600. Divide by 7. How many times does 7 go into 60? Sam?
8 times
With how many left over?
4.
So I'm going to put the 4 there. 7 into 40, Sam?
5.
And then put a decimal. How many you have left over?
5.
7 into 50.
7.
How many left over?
1.
7 into 10.
1.
How many left over?
3.
7 into 30.
4.
How many left over?
2.
7 into 20.
2.
How many left over?
6.
7 into 60.
8.
Do you guys notice what's happening?
Repeating.
What pattern repeats here? Sam?
7. 7, 1, 4, 2, 8 is repeating.
Go one more. How many you have left over?
4. 7, 1, 4, 2, 8, 4 is repeating.
Okay, well, so we're going to get about 85.7%. Okay, I'm going to show you, how many of you know what, like 1/2 is what percent? Do you know what that is as a decimal? 0.5, right? Do you guys know the thirds? 1/3 and 2/3? 0.3 repeating, 0.6 repeating. Do you know the fourths? 2/4, 3/4. Do you know the fifths? Do you know the sixths? You're gonna know them. Sevenths and eighths and ninths. We're gonna go over those super easy. Once you find a pattern to these, they're very easy. Okay? All right, next one. It says a computer randomly generates an integer from 1 to 10. Randomly, like our random drug testing here, right? They don't just put your name in there and say, ooh, I think this person's doing drugs. I'm going to pull their name out. That's not fair, is it? Okay, so it's randomly generating an integer from 1 to 10. Find the probability that 8 is generated. Well, probability of an 8. What is that? What's the probability that 8 is drawn? Probability of an 8. Christian? 1 out of 10. So what is that as a percent?
10 out of 100.
Which is
10%.
10%. Find the probability of a prime number. Well, what are prime numbers from 1 to 10? Is 1 prime? No. Is 2 prime? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many are prime numbers? Out of 10. They want it as a percent. Well, we know that's 2/5, but what is 4 out of 10 as a percent? 40%. You guys know those already, right? When we go shopping and we have to take 7% sales tax, aren't we taking 7% of the amount we pay? What does the word of mean in math? What does of mean in math, Ava? It means to multiply. Of means to multiply. So it says, in a survey of 85 people, 20% that said they eat crackers with soup. How many people said they like crackers with soup? This is saying 20% of those people. Well, you could also think of it like this. Part over total equals percent over 100. Is the 85 people, is that the part or is that the total? What? That's the total. So there are several ways to do these, but we know of means multiply. I'm going to write 85 times. Now, I can make 20% a decimal, or what is 20% as a fraction in simplest form? Well, it's 20 over 100, right? Those knock off. So what do we get when we reduce it? Isn't 85 times 1/5 easy to do? Why is that easy to do? Jackson?
85 is divisible by 5.
Yeah, so can't we cancel? That becomes 1. Jackson, how many times does 5 go into 8?
Once,
With how many left over?
3,
5 into 35.
7.
So we get 17 people. And again, we're just getting into this. We are going to be setting up percent proportions, percent equations. Okay? So you guys do the last two. It says find the percent of the number. A says take 30% of 80. B says take 60% of 105. On A, what is 30% as a fraction? What is 30% as a fraction? Alex? That's 3 over 10. Times, because of means multiply, 80. Isn't that easy to do? How many times does 10 go into 80? 8. So 8 times 3 is 24. How many of you got 24 on that one? Good. What is 60% as a reduced fraction? 60%. 60 over 100, but what does that reduce to? What does that reduce to? Christian?
3/5.
Yeah, that reduces to 3/5. So how many of you just took 3/5 times 105? How many times does 5 go into 105? Tessa? 21 times, and then 21 times 3 is what, Tessa? How many of you got 63 on that one? Okay, does that make sense?